It's 5:30. I'll call the meeting to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anyone desiring to view the Open Meetings Act may do so. The document is available for public inspection and is located on the west wall in council chambers as well as on the City of Wayne website. The City Council may go into closed session to discuss certain agenda items to protect the public interest or to prevent the needless injury to the reputation of an individual, and if such individual has not requested a public hearing. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes from May 4th, 2026.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second, any discussion on the minutes? Roll call? And the minutes are approved unanimously. Item number 5 is approval of the claims. We have a motion and a second on the claims. Is there any questions, discussion? Roll call? And the claims are approved unanimously. Item number 6 is action to appoint Jordan Widner as fire chief. With us today, we have Phil Monahan, previous fire chief for the last 14 years.
Thank you. Phil Monahan, present fire chief. I'm going to relax a little bit and let Jordan take over. Maybe spend more time with the grandkids, depends how the fishing pole reacts. So, but
Phil, before you leave, tell us about, how long have you been fire chief? How long have you been on the fire department?
fire chief for 14 years. I started on the fire department back in 2002, so go from there or whatever. I ain't got 25 years in, but I'm still staying on the department. I mean, if Jordan has questions on the way, hopefully help him out or whatever, or maybe he'll prod me some more or something, but yeah. So that's about it, but yeah. So ain't planning on moving, still staying right here in Wayne, so, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jordan Widner, lifelong resident of this town. I've been a wonderful member of this department for 17 years, going on 18 this fall. Served multiple positions on this department for the association, and then 6 years as assistant chief with Phil. I took a year off to finish my construction project at my 9-to-5, which is director of maintenance at Wayne Community Schools. Wife Cassandra works across the hallway at dispatch, and I have 2 wonderful daughters. Tenley will be a sophomore this coming year, and Riley will be a 7th grader. Any questions for me?
Second.
Lots of seconds. Any other discussion? Roll call? And the action is approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Item number 7 is the action on the application for membership of Ethan Balmort to the Wayne Volunteer Fire Department.
Ethan could not be here tonight. He is a senior at Wayne State who has a summertime gig as a wildland firefighter. He had to be out in Rapid City by the 10th. He's interested in the urban side of firefighting, so maybe we can change him from his education major, which we've done on a few people. With his appointment tonight, that'll bring us up to 27 current members.
Where's Ethan? Where did he go to high school?
I have no idea. Do you
Okay.
remember, Phil?
Out there at
There's a lot of places out there.
Custer.
Okay, that way, yeah,
Yep.
very nice.
For approval for the membership of Ethan Balmont to the Wayne Volunteer.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call? Action on membership is approved unanimously. Thank you for that. Item number 8, action on the application for cadet membership of Callan Gamble to the Wayne Volunteer Fire Department.
Callan Gamble will be a junior this year at Wayne High School. We currently are allowed 5 positions for our cadet program at the high school. Our last one, it was a graduating senior, so right now we're at 0. With the appointment of the 2 tonight, we'll be back up to 2. Is anything you'd like to say? Nope. Callan is the second generation. His dad, Robbie, was on for many years with me and Phil both. And he's kind of looking to follow in Dad's footsteps.
So Callan, is the cadet membership, are you just getting started, or have you been involved in the fire department already?
Not in the way you think. I've not done anything, like blowing down fires. Or
Yeah.
No, this would be my first time being actually involved with the fire department.
I'm sure you helped at the pancake dinner. Or breakfast, though.
Yep.
Yep.
Move to approve the application for cadet membership for Callan Gamble to the Wayne Volunteer Fire Department.
We have a motion and a second. Any more questions for Callan? Roll call.
Thank you.
Action on membership has been approved unanimously. Thank you. Action number 9, action on the application for cadet membership of James Heil to the Wayne Volunteer Fire Department.
James will also be a junior this coming year at Wayne High School. Anything you'd like to say?
Nope.
Nope.
Jason, James, have you always lived in Wayne?
No, I used to live in Loop City, Nebraska. I moved here in March of 2021 to live with my mom. My parents are divorced. I lived with my father.
Move for approval on the application for cadet membership of James Heel to the
Motion and a second. Any more questions for James? Roll call.
You should have bribed a few.
There you go.
James.
Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker.
Jordan, I have a question. How long does the cadet go for?
So the cadet program goes to the age of 18. When they turn 18, even if they're still a senior in high school, they can become an active member at that point. There's limitations as to what they can do, of course. Insurance mandates a lot of that. But we can get them in and start breaking them in and doing things. And then if they want to do it right away when they turn 18, they can. Some do it right away. Some would rather wait till they're out of high school, just because other activity commitments and that kind of stuff. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 10 is action on an application for addition to liquor licensed premises, Wildcat Lanes. This is Darren and Jesse Hansen. This was Jensen. Whew, I'm really reading wrong tonight.
We're back.
This was tabled from the last meeting.
Yep.
Yes, what do you know?
So we met with the Liquor Commission, both commissioners and the executive director a couple weeks ago and about some other items as well. But we had asked a question, there was kind of varying opinions as far as the definition of a permanent structure, permanent fencing. And so initially in our meeting, it kind of sounded like we were able to kind of take it down, put it back up. But after they talked kind of their legal platform and that sort of thing, we have to make it permanent. So we've decided to make that beer garden or outside area as permanent. So it'll take between 4 and 5 spots that we have today, but we have a lot more parking than some others in town. So
I like that it will be permanent. I was concerned that people will get used to going out there and then it's not there and they might just be standing out there.
Yep. Yep. And they also mentioned that like eventually, whether it'll change or not, they don't know. Like, because there's been a lot of examples that they've kind of brought up that it could happen where people could tear it down, put it back up. But I even suggested that we do initially was we get approval to put it up, get approval to take it down, and then the following year get approval to put it up, take it down. It's a lot of work, and I think they're scared of the paperwork too. But I'm like, we'll pay the fee and all that. But I mean, it was so there's potential in the future, but as right now, we're going to keep it permanent. So.
I appreciate you all getting clarity and
Yeah.
not trying to be a pain in the butt, just.
No. I think they were great questions. So.
And with
Because we
that,
wanted to do it right too. So.
yeah, with that, I'll move for approval on the application for addition to liquor license premises, Wildcat Lanes, Darren and Jesse Jensen.
Second.
Motion and a second, thank you for that. Any more discussion, questions? Roll call? Unanimously, thank you.
Thank you. Can I add one thing? So I want to just share one quick thing from the commission. So we met with them in Kearney. And I know there's been a lot of, talks around what we're doing in regards to, separation of minors and all, and that sort of thing. And we did lay out kind of our plan of what we're doing for college nights and what we're doing, on our typical days. And they had mentioned that we're very few in the state that actually do what we do. And they actually personally thanked us for what we did and how we do it, and all the precautions that we go through and all that. So I just wanted to share that, guys, with you, so, okay, thank you.
Item number 11, action on the request of Callie Jordan to keep an emotional support animal, a pit bull, at Wayne State College to live with her in on-campus housing. You must be Callie Jordan.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Tell us about your request.
So, the middle of March, I had decided to start, the process of getting my pit bull Luna here on campus. She's a pit bull mix. And the college actually did approve her, and then when I went to get her license in the city, they said that I had to get a special licensing for her since she is a pit bull. But I do have my vet's note that I did turn in that she is non-aggressive. She is really good around other dogs. She's just really energetic, which they don't like, but, they don't have to reciprocate it. And she is really good around people and things like that, and she'll really be a boost to, my emotions and things like that, so.
Ally, first, appreciate all the documentation you provided. Sets a really good standard for ESAs moving forward. You got, the note from mental health provider, vaccination records, behavioral assessment from the vet, all that. The only document I'm wondering that's missing is you stated you've gotten approved by the school, that being Wayne State College. Did they provide any formal letter or anything? of that
Yes,
nature?
I can grab my phone and show you the email if that would work for you.
Yeah, and Marlon, do you want to talk a little bit about, we contacted Wayne State to see what the process was with them, and Marlon can shed some light on what he found out.
Marlon Chen, Chief of Police. I did call to try to confirm that Ms. Jordan had met the requirements for the college. The Disabilities Office is the first step. I'm assuming that's where you started?
Yes.
To fill out the paperwork and the request. She has done that. She did supply them with what was needed for their office. They then sent me to housing, and housing, whether I got somebody that wasn't informed or whether it hasn't been done yet. Have you been to the housing department yet?
No, I haven't been able to reach out, be able to talk to him.
Okay, there's another step to this for you.
Okay.
You'll have to make arrangements with the housing department because they have a full list of guidelines and rules that they go through with you
Okay.
before they actually say yay or nay. And the city's kind of the last step of that. If you choose to do whatever and allow it, then she would have to register the animal and show proof of that to the college before they would approve her.
So we found this stuff out about 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah.
Or so.
It was a little late.
So Marlon and I talked about if I would contact Callie to say you don't need to be here tonight if we table something or we don't take action. I thought it'd be good to still have her come to go through this, and then you could always approve something conditionally, or you could table it for another time, so. I guess I'll let the attorney tell you what your options are.
Yeah, if you want to, now that you have all the information, if you want to table it until we get that letter, or you can say, if you would approve it, which you can't really deny this with ESAs, but you can approve it contingent upon receiving the approval from the housing department. And then it doesn't have to come back before council.
So just for my own education here, so we can't deny it, so what are we voting on?
So whenever somebody has an animal within the city limits that is not specifically allowed, they have to come before, you guys to let you know it's here, and then you have to approve it. So that would be for any animal that the city code says is not allowed, they have to come before council. The only time that you could deny it on an ESA is if you weigh, the risks with the law. You could deny it if you found that there was a substantial risk to the public. For example, we did deny the one pit bull who had been declared vicious in a different city because he had bitten somebody. So that one you could deny, but other than that, if there, you have to go with the federal law.
So how far are the parameters associated with housing and where the dog is compared to the community? Because we have an ordinance against this type of dog, so Callie could go down to the Bark Park with this dog that's against the city ordinance.
As of now, yes, unless you guys decided to make some sort of an ordinance with, I mean, technically you could make an ordinance that says no neutered dogs can be down here. You could make an ordinance that says, no German shepherds or pit bulls are allowed down here. So you can do that with regard to your own property. It's just a matter of restricting it from the city limits.
What are you looking to move into there?
I will be moving in like early August because I got a job for Peer Mentors and then just staying there until the spring of the following year, and then I'll be off to Grand Island for my senior year.
So it's not a huge rush that we,
Yeah.
okay.
Callie, do you have any concerns about, currently your dog is living at home with your parents?
No, she's perfect. Like,
No, do you have any concerns, where's your dog at now?
she lives in an apartment with my mom right now. I'm there
Okay.
actually for the summer, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like the same thing as living in a dorm, so she's kind of used to that, and we have her on like a schedule.
You
And-
knew what I was gonna say, because I was gonna say, do you have any concerns with her going from her living situation now to, being in like a small
No,
dorm?
she has lived in like a big house and like she's had a yard, but I think she does better like in an apartment because then she gets to like go more outside and have more free roam instead of being confined to a yard. So I think she does better there for those parts, and also she gets to meet more people, which she loves.
I move to approve the request of Callie Jordan to keep an emotional support animal at Wayne State College to live with her in on-campus housing, contingent upon the approval of Wayne State College housing.
Thank you for that. We have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion, any more questions for Callie?
How long are you away from your dog right now?
What do you mean?
Dog's at your mom's house, do you live up here?
No, I live in the apartment with her, so I just have only been away from her for like 2 hours-ish, just from Omaha to here, so she does get some separation anxiety, but not too bad.
But you've lived in Wayne prior without the dog?
Yes.
For like days or weeks at a time?
Yeah, so I moved in freshman year 2024, so I lived that whole year without her, and then the fall of last year, and then the spring of this year.
I have a question for Amy. So when I was on council 3 years ago, can that family come back at us? I mean, they weren't emotional support dogs. Those were just like regular pit dogs that they had. This, you're saying we can't vote against it due to the health. I'm on Warkarski, right? It's like, we're waving this one.
So the entirety of the council can't vote against it?
What's that?
The entirety of the council can't vote against it?
We have to approve.
I know, but if Chris and I vote against it, we're not in some sort of
Right.
trouble with. the
When I was, I
fence,
mean,
are we?
I voted against not having pit bulls in this community,
Yeah.
and the lady then was gonna go get emotional support part and do all this part, and I get where she's at, and that's why I asked the question, how long have you been away from it? For a week or so? Can you live at Wayne State for 2-3 days without this dog?
So here's kind of the way that the law works, even though, and I get what you're saying, because one of my tenants has an emotional support animal, we'll go there and fix something, and they're not there for the animals, you know, so I understand what you're saying. But when it is an emotional support, you can't ask what their disability is or what they need it for support for. Okay, so if the doctor says that they need it for emotional support, you can't, it's not the same as a service dog. So you can't say, well, when did you suddenly need that support and what's the diagnosis? So there's certain HIPAA things, that you have to follow. Jason, as far as your question, as far as can you two vote against it, well, you can do whatever you want. I mean, I would ask that you not go against legal advice when it comes to the city, but, and then if other people would, vote against it and it didn't pass, then yes, it would open us up to.
We represent the public and I've, you know, talked to residents that saw this on the thing and not one of them thought it was a good idea. I can't change federal law. I get that too, and the other thing we all have to think about, I think, is if something doesn't happen, then, you know, we did approve this.
So this
You
does.
did
A lot
approve
of
it,
but
but you
in
had
those
to.
times,
Yeah.
yes,
We
The-
approved golf carts too, but.
right,
somebody
but what
can
I'm
go-
saying is that oftentimes the blame doesn't go where it needs to go, that, hey, they actually followed the federal guidelines or whatever, but, it doesn't always work that way in the public realm as far as perception.
And this doesn't free the owner from liability.
I know.
So some exclusions to the ESA is if the dog becomes a public nuisance, then the dog can be prohibited from that
Yes.
facility. Same if the dog latches out, bats, bites, things of that nature. So with the veterinary behavioral recommendation that she's calm, she's approachable, you know, it kind of eases my anxiety in that respect. So that's why I appreciate you providing that document.
Of course.
Yeah, all I'm saying is it puts the council in kind of a predicament in regard to voting because we have to vote a certain way, but that may not be the perception of the people we represent or whatever, so that's all I'm saying. I guess we probably had too many incidents out on trails and walking trails and other issues with dogs that aren't even on our list as far as vicious dogs or whatever, so now there's gonna, potentially, this is not a dog, it's just gonna be at the college, it's gonna be in the community, it's probably gonna be at the Bark Park or whatever, I mean, just a caution, I guess, is where I'm coming from.
Will you take it to like the grocery store with you, or is it gonna be out?
You can't do that in the ESA.
No, I'll just like, she loves walks, so I would just keep her like kind of on campus. Sometimes I would bring her into the community, but not all the time because mostly I just stay on campus as well. So it wouldn't be too much of like a out there problem. It'd just be on campus.
Having a roommate?
Yes.
A motion in a second.
Yep. Is there any more discussion? Any more questions for Cal?
I'm voting yes, but only because I have to.
Voting yes only because I have to.
And you guys already know that I'm doing the same.
I,
Reluctantly.
Yep.
And the action is approved unanimously, contingent upon the housing approval from Wayne State College.
Thank you. Of course.
Item number 12 is Resolution 2026-35, approving application to amend the Class C liquor license of the Fourth Jug LLC, doing business as the Max again, as its Hunter Jorgensen is here to add a secondary license for catering. Hi, Hunter.
Hi,
Tell us
Hunter
what you want to
Jorgensen
do.
here. I'm just trying to get a secondary liquor license so I can do events such as weddings, whatever it may be, birthday parties, gatherings.
How do you do those right now?
I haven't done one yet under mine. Yeah, we've done it previously, just I haven't done it under
Okay,
mine.
good, okay, got it.
Yeah,
Liquor license switched
yeah.
to his own. You could do it just by getting a special permit. if
Yeah,
you
it
wanted
would
to
just
do
cost
it.
$75 a time.
This is unlimited,
Yeah, yep.
whereas special designated, you have to, only so many per year or
Mhm.
something.
I can't remember the number, but I think it's like 3 or 4 or something.
Or if I remember correctly. SDLs are here.
Make a motion to approve the application to amend the Class C liquor license of the Fourth Jug LLC, doing business as the Max again, Hunter Jorgensen.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Do I need to add a secondary license? Do I need to add that to the motion?
Any questions for Hunter? Any more discussion? Roll call?
Thanks, guys.
Unanimously, thank you. Item number 13 is action to allocate $40,000 from the Keno funds to start planning for downtown right-of-way improvements. No, it's you or Luke?
The immediate
Luke?
I would say this request comes from, yeah, Luke, you can step up. This request comes from the Downtown Improvement and Safety Committee, DISC, that Councilmember Weber and Bolte are part of, as well as Luke. I'm not actually on this committee, so I'll let them take it.
So I think the second piece of this is the next agenda item, and I don't know how if we go out of order here or.
Yeah, so how Betty and I set this up was first to see if the council would allocate funding from Keno. That's where Beth and I think it's most appropriate at this point in the budget season to take from, because we don't have it allocated anywhere else. Keno has unallocated part. If you remember last year, I think we had 100 and some
60.
thousand that you guys did not allocate. We allocated 25 to the FIG, the facade improvement grant, and that's, so the rest is unallocated. That's what we thought it was most appropriate to go to that, and thought it made sense that it was community betterment. So anyway, go ahead.
And the reason why we're doing this later in the ballgame, this committee was not in place when the budget was approved back in September of 2025. This committee started gathering in November of 2025. We've met every month since then, except for 1 month. In February, we started inviting the Nebraska Department of Transportation to attend those meetings. They've attended regularly, helped us guide our discussion a little bit. And this last couple months, we've started looking at proposals. But because there's no funding to back up any sort of a proposal, we needed to make sure that the cart was not in front of the horse. And that's why we have the agenda item. And to Wes's point, him and Beth had crunched some numbers, and they said there's probably a window of opportunity here for the latter part of the budget cycle.
First project was the sign at the CAC, and then we went several years without doing anything with the funds and just letting them accumulate. And then in '23, we did some water bottle fillers at the ball fields, batting cages. That was the biggest project that we've done with the funds. Changing tables at the parks. We've done landscaping at the Welcome to the Wing signs. And then the 25,000 has been allocated to the facade improvement grants, but that has not been spent, it's just been allocated.
I'm for this. It's something we have to address. It's a safety issue. We've had incidents down there. And perhaps just for the next item, but my only restraint on it is Councilman Whaler made some great points at the retreat of looking at possibly two designs. I know there was discussion of like planter boxes, irrigation lights, all that. But I'd also appreciate seeing a more simplistic design. Maybe stamped concrete, not too much other additions. That way we kind of get a spectrum of design plans and costs associated with it. But other than that, yeah, I'm full agreement with putting those funds to this use. And thank committees.
Discussed too.
Okay.
Like just stamp concrete, how you want to go, how. Like maintenance has been a really big thing that we've talked about, like something that we can upkeep over the course of the years instead of kind of just letting it go. We talked about like the stamp concrete and actually like purchasing the stamp, so if we have to replace panels, we have the stamp, we can always fix it.
I just didn't know if the next item, the JDO consulting agreement, is the same that breadth of scope.
I think sometimes simplicity adds to better snow removal. And that's a big thing down there from talking to businesses and stuff. Oh, where do you go with it, if you have a multiple day event and you're just trying to stay open and.
Significant input from the business owners that will be affected downtown by this project,
Good.
so.
One of the things, I know we're not talking about the agreement yet, but one thing we went back to JEO with was, to have business input before anything was done at the committee level. So to have, they switched around having, instead of an additional committee meeting, they were gonna come up and do a community engagement, if you will, for the business owners before it gets to the committee to talk about. So get some buy-in, or, what they'd like to see.
Allocate 40,000 from the Keno funds to start planning for downtown right away.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion?
I just have a discussion on it. I was gonna say I'm very against using the Keno funds for it. The sidewalks, streets can be funded through the states on street, road tax money. A lot of the Keno money that Beth gave is like ballpark stuff, funding that's, we can't reach out and get out. So you see Keno money goes towards to help out like the activity centers, the different groups that need that money. I think there's other ways that we can budget through the city to fund the downtown project. And use the Keno as, if you look at how Norfolk uses their Keno money, you go into the Keno bars, you see like big pops of like ballpark they did the batting cage, they've done like all these highlights for like younger kids too. Senior centers, you could buy a refrigerator with the Keno money. Downtown street can get funded through a different way as taxpayers' money through road tax. Because that's literally a highway that we're paving, and I just don't feel using Keno funds to fund that. I'm very against using $40,000 Keno when we could put something to the water park in a year or two. Keno money can go towards our parks, and those park equipments are $80,000 to $100,000. So that's my say of the Keno funds, be allocated towards things that cannot be funded through road tax and paving for downtown sidewalks. And there's other funding options out there.
And Joel, is this portion of concrete able to be funded through the mechanisms he's stated, or, because I know this state highway DOT, they're gonna do the street itself, but from the curb to the building, thought that fell on us and the business owners.
Yeah, that's in the right of way, but it's up to us to maintain. I will say that I would agree with Chris as far as like the street department paving sidewalks, but keep in mind, most of this work has nothing to do with the sidewalk that you walk on, it's landscaping. It's for beautification of the downtown. If any blade was gonna pay for it, I'd suggest actually the safety issues coming from the water curb stops, so then you could look at your water department to fund it, but to use street funds, isn't a great idea either. We've got lots of needs for highway beautification. I think the Keno would make more sense than the street fund.
And this is just the planning piece, correct?
Yes, this is just for the JEO services, so we can start a plan, we can start talking to downtown. This is now for actual paving.
And it's not even design. I mean, this isn't engineering, a plan. This is landscape architecture, like I said, community involvement, community engagement, things like that. I will say, to the point on funding, Beth and I had a conversation with the district on CDBG funds, and how we are now under the LMI level. We're at 40.8, which 50 would be 50 or over to be considered LMI. So CDBG funds are going to be very difficult for Wayne to get in the future, at least on paving streets, doing public infrastructure. There might be the DTR, downtown revitalization. I don't know how they say your community is not LMI, but they're gonna allow you to do downtown revitalization. I'm not sure where that's gonna all go. And I know the current federal administration has made some comments about cutting some of those programs. Now, they have not heard that, or they've not heard that from the state, at the state level. So I hope that's an error in reporting at the national level. But, so just, CDBG funds are gonna be much more difficult to get down the road. We believe, at least.
How much is in Keno right now?
143,000.
I'm kind of in the same boat as Chris. I have a hard time, it's been a lot of projects that there's not a lot of other funding for. That, I don't know, I agree with him on it, and I mean, that's a big chunk of money out of Keno of.
I just feel like down at the ballpark with the batting cage, it should say on there, provided by Keno money. Helps the business owner that's got Keno. We have another business owners that are looking at building another Keno business. If you, like I said, you go to Norfolk, those Omaha, I've been to a lot of ball fields, and they advertise that, and that's what the money that they don't have promotes those nice, and things in the ball fields. I mean, I just know that with Hagemeyer, the amount of park stuff that we have with Sunnyview, that was what, $180 or $1,000.
One piece of equipment.
You know, if that piece of equipment can have Keno funded, it helps people either one, gamble, play Keno, know what it goes to. But if you just do a downtown sidewalk, I mean, hey, it's gonna be tore up in 10 years.
This is planning only.
Yeah.
This is not anything you can hang a sign on, which is probably making your point.
I want to clarify a few numbers there. So you said Sunnyview, that piece of equipment? Is that what you're talking about?
That was the last one we did,
Okay,
right?
okay, just, so the numbers there were, it was like 60 to 70,000 to do the piece of equipment, and then the landscaping and the other thing. You were at $80,000 or $90,000 when you were all
Almost
set.
100 for, by the time we
So
put the
it
mulch
wasn't
and
180.
everything inside, yep, and that's without having any, playground, like the rubber, if you put that down,
Well, that's incredibly expensive, but we do wood
Oh,
chips.
I'm not against the project, I'm not against getting an engineer paid for it, but not using Keno.
And also, any of these projects that have been paid out of Keno, it's not like you're legally obligated to pay out of Keno. You can do that out of a parks budget. So just know all those projects could have happened, it just would have been paid for by a different. Or we could definitely put notes up, if you wanna say paid for by Wayne Keno funds, at like at the ball field. Do you want that at every baby changing station that we've done? I mean, I don't know where you want that, but we could definitely put those plaques up if you want, so the community knows.
What's the difference in possible timeline between, different funding sources? Because I get a little leery about the Department of Roads, and they're gonna roll through with, is it 2028?
2027.
2027. Does that, can that coincide with that then, or are we looking 10 more years down the road?
Go ahead, guys,
because-
you're on the committee.
Right?
We want to try and do it at the same time.
I just think of the trail, it was 18 years or something, wasn't it?
We don't know that the Department of Roads will actually show up in 2027, but we're also afraid if we keep pushing off a project like this, someone gets really hurt downtown, and then we have a problem when another person trips and falls and cracks their head open.
Yeah, I just don't wanna see the can get kicked down the road and it deteriorates more and more, and it's more of a danger to the public, because they're waiting and waiting and waiting.
And then, like, we've talked a lot about the CDBG funding going away, and how if we're gonna try and pursue another big project, we need to not just keep dilly-dallying around.
If we wait for state funding, what they're doing is maintenance, but what we're proposing would actually change their project in what they call 3R, which would be an entire different level of planning and developing plans and all that stuff. So if we asked them to wait so we could do it at the same time, we'd probably be looking at a 3 or 4 year delay.
The spoken, not spoken thing was, if we decide, if we are hard and fast on, we wanna do this all at the same time, we're gonna be sitting waiting for a while.
I guess, do we have anything else that we're gonna use the Keno money for? Because I feel like we talk about it at retreats and then we never actually do anything with it, and that's why we have so much built up into that fund.
The only other thing I'm aware of was, updating another welcome to Wayne sign, because, yeah, we did one, but there's still one left. We just got done with that one. Oh, you did? Yeah, so they should, all four should be done now.
Okay. My thing is with Keno is the Rotary was here looking for money. That's the thing the Keno goes for, that little. That's what. Things on with sidewalk streets, then the city needs to budget that way in the street department, or the sidewalk department, because you're gonna spend Keno money for downtown sidewalks, but when we do this sidewalk project, because we talked to the retreat to go around, are you gonna use Keno money then? So I feel like Keno money needs to be used as nice and extra pluses in the community. Because it takes, with a new business that's gonna start with Keno, it takes a lot for them to build that money up. They don't get as much as the city does, and they're the ones that are actually doing the hard work. So I feel like at the end of it, if possibly having 2 Kenos, they should be on a committee kinda requesting, like, as people come to request the money and say, yeah, I think that's great for that Keno money to go towards that, because we're doing all the projects that the Keno has put to. I'm just totally against that money downtown. 'Cause
So
we're not-
the Keno money is used for community betterment, betterment, yeah. And so it has been used for the CAC sign, it's been used at landscaping at the Welcome to Wayne signs. We don't have any money to spend on the downtown for this plan. There's no place that we have budgeted. So we're gonna have to put off this project another year if we wait and do not fund this planning process now. The $40,000 is so we can start planning, so we can start working with JAO. We're just sitting there in meetings spinning our wheels because we have no engineer to help us with.
I see where you're at there, but, I mean, then we need a budget that way. I mean, if we don't have, the money for it, I don't like robbing money from other places that we don't need to rob from. We always rob money from the electrical fund, we always rob money from the water department. So, I mean, you guys can vote whatever, that's how I feel about Keno money.
No matter where it comes from, if somebody falls again and you've put it off for another year, it'll be cost more than $40,000.
The only thing I'll add is, for the sidewalk comment, there is a funding mechanism being developed through the CRA that should be available this fall, so we are addressing it in other ways, but I completely understand your hesitancy and your desire to not utilize Keno funds with this. I get it. I'm the guy that pushed for the baby changing stations, and I also am in agreement with Lowell of utilizing the funds for landscaping for public display, but like our mayor pointed out, there's no funding with this, and with it being a known liability to the city, if we continue to sit on our hands, it opens us up to situations that we don't think the city wants to have open.
Our downtown has been neglected, and it shows. Yes.
My only comment on this is the public betterment thing has come up a lot. I can't think of much that's more public than sidewalk right of way and on Main Street. So that's just where my head's at. And like, I don't want to get too into it as far as like what I'm using, what I'm doing, whatever. But the thing that I'm using the most out of anything that's been brought up is city sidewalks. So that's,
Oh, you had something.
I just want to point out, this is not a sidewalk project. Please keep in mind, this is a downtown beautification project. And unless you choose to do something at the corners, it will not touch the actual sidewalk. Actually, the issues are the water valves, none of those are on the corners. So if you choose, you wouldn't have to do the pavers where they intersect the corners, you could just do the ribbon where and then you could even go back with pavers, you don't know, that's kind of the process of the planning that you're asking JO is to get some public input, do they want to see pavers, do they not? But it actually does not touch the walking part for the most part.
thank you for correcting that. Right away.
How many people have fallen and gotten hurt?
Two that we know of that have requested damages.
And besides, you can now play Keno at Wildcat Lanes, so our funds may go up.
Just to put a bow on it from our perspective with economic development, placemaking is very important. If this is a high-traffic corridor, whether it's car traffic or foot traffic, making sure it's in good condition, whether it's a safety concern or an aesthetic concern, is incredibly important.
I'm gonna get clobbered on this, but we gave 1% away on the city bank account, and we're sitting here complaining about money all the time. I'm just gonna say it.
Couldn't pay for the consulting with what we gave away.
Exactly.
Twice.
Exactly, and, we circle back to this all the time, and I'm like, I'm still blown away by that decision, and I'll just tell you that right now. this will come up again and again in my mind as we lost control of taxpayer money. That aggravates me.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Do we have a motion and a second on the floor?
Yes.
Is there any more discussion? Any more comments, questions? Roll call. And let's see, we are approved with 6 voting yes, and we have 2 who voted no. I need to know who voted no. Okay. Thank you for that. Item number 14 is Resolution 2026-36, approving the agreement with JEO Consulting Professional Services for the Wayne, Nebraska Streetscape Master Plan Project. Is Roger here for this?
Roger is here.
Yeah.
Luke's up.
Good evening, Roger Protzman, JEO Consulting Group, Norfolk. Yeah, JEO, and we have we'll call IDS. No, something design services. I just forgot I'm blanking on the I right now. But our group, led by Eric Casper, has submitted an agreement at the request of the city for streetscape and vision planning, and this would be kind of a guiding framework for implementation down the road once you get to that point. It includes about 5 meetings. 2 of them are on-site. One is a kickoff meeting with city staff, and another one is a kickoff meeting with the downtown businesses, trying to receive and gather early input from the community before too much planning goes into this, getting their direction and guidance before we move forward. And then 2 of the meetings are virtual meetings that the staff would be having with the DISC group as they move forward. So that said.
Roger's not he's representing
Yeah.
JEO, but he has nothing to do with this, really.
And you're not there, Casper, for us.
At our last DISC meeting, we were gonna maybe negotiate a little bit.
So what we did was, that's what we got.
Okay.
We got the extra meeting that they would come up and talk to businesses. That'll be a much more in-depth
Right. Yep, so we made that change.
Also, this, correct me if I'm wrong, still
Okay.
have our 5%?
Yes.
Will we still get our 5%?
Yep, yep.
See, we just saved 5%.
I think the contract talked about 2 different concepts.
Yes, and yep, and the end product would be 2 conceptual streetscape alternatives with cost opinions, some general configurations, landscape and amenity placement, those sorts of things that would be on those general designs.
What street are we looking at starting with?
So we're basically looking at Main Street, starting from First Street and going to Fourth Street. And even the intent of this alternative is like whatever, maybe you want to do 2, I don't know, for the sake of discussion here, you want to do 2 corners one year. You can do 2 corners and work your way down the street as you go. It can be broken apart into whatever phases you come up with, Chris, so. Yeah.
It's gonna have to be broke up just because we use the downtown in the summer.
Yeah.
For chicken days, so you can't say like, well, 05. I wasn't here, but I don't know what they did for chicken days in 05.
I don't know, we did, I was here, but dang, if I can, did we move it? Because it was, we had.
We have a
it was
very
gone.
tough window in the summer.
No, wasn't there a year we moved it to the west?
Was it Parade through the fairgrounds or something?
We did Pearl Street one.
I think it was Pearl
And
Street.
then, not COVID, yeah, COVID year when it got moved to like September, or like a 1 day event was at the fairgrounds.
So if this gets like designed, but like with you guys, I mean, you want it wrapped up within like a 2-year project? I mean, you know what I mean? Because you're not gonna want it drawn out for a 4-year project.
Yeah, I mean, that really comes down to you and your funding mechanisms and what you guys end up you know, what you decide and how you decide to fund it.
Say, cause you don't wanna come out 4 years doing blocks. It's gonna
We'll
cost
do
us
whatever you
more.
need, Chris.
I assume you'd probably start with a curb stop service.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion, yeah, yeah.
Can I speak to that, Amy? So I counted up the number of curb stops that are from Logan Creek all the way to Seventh Street. There's 89 total on the Main Street corridor. And in the 100, 200, and 300 blocks, the space that we are looking at addressing first, 49 of those curb stops exist in that zone. So this would cover the majority of those curb stops that are probably causing the most concern. And then it gets much more sparse as you go north and south from that main zone. And when I shared those numbers with Casey Junk, he's out on vacation, but he said those numbers sound about right.
This is to approve the agreement with JEO.
Introduce resolution 2026-37 and move for approval of the agreement with JEO Consulting for professional services for the Wayne. I'm off one.
Yeah, sorry, I was gonna say.
JEO Consulting
number-
Services for professional services for the Wayne, Nebraska Street State Master Plan Project. For $40,000.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call?
Oh, I thought I had it.
And the resolution has passed unanimously. That. Item number 15 is Resolution 2026-37, approving the agreement with JEO Consulting Group for professional services for the Wayne Municipal Building Planning Study Project, otherwise known as 1100 East 10th.
I've already approved, you approved JEO when we looked at the RFPs or the responses from the RFPs. But we wanted to bring the actual agreement back to you so you could see that. But we know it's a $30,000 project, and it's listed out there how many meetings.
Yep.
A lot of community engagement. That is the big piece to this one, is lots of meetings with the public. And suggested things like the focus groups, they suggest certain things we can have more input on. If we want to refine that to different groups, we'll have conversations with JEO on that.
This is what
Yes, this is the $50,000 grant. Yep, so we got to match it $1 for dollar.
Introduce resolution 2026-37, approve an agreement with JEO Consulting Group for professional services for the Wayne Municipal Building Planning Study Project, 1100 East 10th Street for $30,000.
Second.
Get a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call. And the resolution has passed unanimously. Item number 16 is action on contractor's application for payment number 9, which is final payment in the amount of $6,659.09 to Garing Construction and Ready Mix Company Incorporated for the Wayne 7th Street Trail CDBG number 22-PW008 project. Roger Prossman is the engineer with JEO Consulting Group.
So back in early March, I believe you approved the recommendation of acceptance or the substantial completion for the project, but since then, we've just been finalizing punch list items, and those items have since been completed. And the main thing that we're just monitoring now is the growing of the grass to make sure we can close out the stormwater protection plan. So a lot of the erosion control has been able to be removed, but there's still some of it that we're monitoring just to make sure it gets up. But at this point, it's more of a warranty item, and so contractors requesting payment for the release of the final amount of retainage that we've been holding just till we got through the punch list, so.
Seems several panels of concrete or sections of concrete have been revisited since.
Yep, yeah, that was part of the warranty work.
Okay.
They repaired those, yeah.
The rest of it looks good. and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
they-
think they'll be out again.
Right. Yeah. It's couple of those, there's one of them that's just like, somebody drove over it, you just don't, but we don't know who. The other one, like, we had a buckle where it was like, there's a joint and it just heaved, and so we had to do, and then when the snow skid loader went over it, it caught the edge, and then it looked like crap, so it needed to be replaced.
Approval on contractor's application for payment number 9, the final, in the amount of $6,659.09 to Garing Construction and Ready Mix Company, Inc. for the Wayne 7th Street Trail, CDBG number 22-PW-008 project.
Second. Good job. You got
I have a motion and a second. Thank you for that. And roll call.
Okay. Thank you.
The action is approved unanimously. Item number 17 is Resolution 2026-38, adopting and approving the execution of an agreement with the Department of Transportation of the State of Nebraska for project number NH-STP-35-4, 129, control number 32402, agreement number ZL2604. This sounds like a state project.
Explain why we have to take action on this.
Project name, Rectangular Rapid Flashing Beacon Installation.
So this is out here at the corner of Fifth Street and then down on Walnut and Seventh by St. Mary's School, those two school crossings. Right now, those are flashing yellow lights at a certain time of day. And what will happen is this will now be like the crosswalk button up by the high school, but instead of like a stoplight on the highway, it's just gonna have, well, basically, you see your pedestrian crossing square there, and then below is a little rectangle with an arrow pointing down at the crosswalk. In between those two will be a little, maybe 2-inch by 12-inch LED light. And when you push the button, that will start flashing violently with a bright white light. And so hopefully that way drivers don't get as too, so it's just going because it's a certain time of day, it's gonna warn you, no, there's actually somebody here waiting to cross.
He's fairly new out on the highway system.
Yes, yeah. And basically, there's an agreement because we have to agree to maintain the signal and also keep the crosswalks painted.
Which we have to already.
Yeah, it's just,
Was this DOT come to us, or did the
yes,
city go to them?
DOT came to us.
Okay, because have they looked out west where the Donner Addition and the Western Ridge 2?
I don't know. I think they just looked at replacing what was existing.
We'd likely have to make that request.
What's the difference that we don't have them up at the two at the college?
Again, I assume the state was the one that put those years ago. I don't know if that came over across from the city or not, but it's where the two, I think it's for the younger school kids that cross, that they're concerned that these kids might not be as mature to realize they need to make sure they're looking both ways, or to judge the speed of the vehicle, think I'm safe to go, and then get themselves in trouble. So I think it's because of the age group, I believe, is why they were placed where they were.
I just feel like I stop all the time at the college, and it'd be nice to have that there. There's an option to put them on, 'cause if someone's there.
I would too, except half the people that I meet aren't in the crosswalk, they're just crossing mid-block, so they won't even use the light.
And this one's designed because the schools.
I'm assuming it's because the elementary school at one point was between Fourth and Fifth, and, yeah. And there was discussion of it should be moved or not, and I think they decided, well, it's where it's at, we're gonna leave it.
This is the Department of Transportation coming to us saying, we are gonna replace these lights, and they just want our approval that we're gonna
Yeah.
maintain their new lights.
They contacted me like a year ago and asked about concerns of things that I saw as the street director, and I mentioned the consideration of where the school has now been relocated to the old middle school, if they wanted to look at maybe changing that crossing from Fifth to Fourth or not, and I think they just decided that, from their vantage point, it made sense to stay at Fifth, so.
Introduce resolution 2026-38 and move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any more discussion?
You should read that one.
I wanted you to read it all.
Ain't no money
You
value
don't
of
think we need
time.
one down at the trail crossing? I mean, is this the time to, we're not adding more crosswalks, we're
That
just
would
making them
be,
safer.
so that would be a request to the Department of Transportation. And I agree. I think that there needs to be one at Wayne State. Wayne State would like to see more of a crosswalk there. But that would be a request to, and then they would do a study and then come back and say yes or no that we're gonna do that, so.
I mean, I guess I'd like to know what the field of council thinks. I feel like we already have them, we have half with lights, not half with them. It's something the state's gonna come out and do. I would recommend having that trail to the college. I go out that way every day, and I literally think I stop 9 out of 10 times there's someone's in that cross time. So for us, for talking about safety, about sidewalks, everything, state's willing to take a study and need them, I think we need to put on those 3 other spots.
That's something you'd have to do, Joel, is to put in a request with them, or?
I can ask some of that needs to come from the mayor or
processes,
out of the
yeah.
processes, but.
When I see Matthew next time, I'll ask him, yeah. He's also looking at something, speed limits for me, so.
I mean, there's a lot of people
Request,
that,
but this, for this specific project, it's
I
those
agree.
2 lights, yeah.
I'm just saying there's a lot of people that are sitting over there by McDonald's crossing, because there's not that trigger to help them go across that trail, and we designed that trail that way, so I feel like it's worth looking into.
Yeah.
If they're doing it now, doing the study, and they're coming out to do the stuff,
Yeah, and just keep in mind, this doesn't mean traffic has to stop, it's just hopefully to grab their attention that there's somebody there. But yes, we can sure make that request, and we can find a process, but I would still recommend you pass this so you don't delay improving the 2 that we do have.
I'd agree with Chris on that.
Roll call? And the resolution has passed unanimously.
I need to make a motion to request to dig.
Not on the agenda item, so you
Gotcha.
cannot make a motion. But however,
Staff hears you.
it is noted, yes. Item number 18 is Resolution 2026-39, approving interlocal agreement with the Village of Carroll for building inspection services. What do you know, Joel? about
So
this?
we already have a current interlocal agreement with Village of Carroll for this very reason. It would need to be updated to say 2018 International Property Maintenance Codes 2000, instead of 2012. But instead of just doing that, we decided to bring in a whole new agreement because the Village of Carroll can't find their copy. And they've had a change in leadership, and they want to be a little bit more aggressive in how they go about things over there. And so they asked that we just start the process over and have a new interlocal agreement, sign it with the current leadership of the village over there to get things kind of rolling. We will just be acting as a third-party inspection and provide them with reports. They will be up to them to decide what they want to do with it. If they want to start a fine process like we have, they want to give notices, letters, condemnation, and we will help them assist with giving them forms that they can use, blank forms and kind of templates they can use too. But that's the limit of what we'll be doing as part of our assistance to them.
You're the inspector, comfortable with the terms?
Yep, same thing we do with the Village of Concord.
Concord, yeah.
Introduce resolution 2026-39 and move for approval.
Second.
Thank you for that. Any more discussion, questions? Roll call? The resolution has passed unanimously. Item number 19, action on the request to approve a special designated liquor permit for the Max Again on Thursday, June 11th, 2026 for the Bike Ride Across Nebraska event to be located at Prairie Park, Wayne, America. Hunter?
Yes, been asked by the city to do the liquor for the Bike Ride Across Nebraska event. The city will be providing a tent that's 100 by 40 feet, and we'll probably have a small corner inside the tent. We will only be selling canned beer or seltzers. We won't be doing any mixed drinks or anything. It's just too much of a hassle. We will be putting up like that orange snow fencing around the whole perimeter. We will have people checking IDs. We're going to be doing wristbands for everybody that's over age. We'll have people walking throughout the whole tent, making sure everybody's not getting too drunk or falling over or whatever it may be. Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I think
Wayne
we're
County
going all that
Troubadours
night,
are
yeah.
playing.
When was the last time Brand went through Nebraska? Or went through Wayne?
Goes through every year.
Thank you. Wayne, Nebraska, went through Wayne.
2012, I
Okay.
feel like.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yes, the wind was out of the south that night, and it was humid.
Yes.
And there is a scholarship for like the best host city on the
Yes.
brand route, so we really
We are
want to
going for
like
that.
make this a great experience for the brand riders.
What's about a number that goes through roughly on a brand?
They've got over 200 registered as of now. They hope to get up to 300 registered riders, and then there's anywhere between 25 and 50 support staff and different follow-up personnel that come along with it.
Is this going to be given out to riders?
So this is something that was shared with the brand folks. They came up with the aerial map, and our staff took care of putting all the lines on it
I just
right
want
now.
the spelling error corrected right here.
That was from them.
Right, it's French.
But the idea was to showcase how their support infrastructure is gonna lay out next to the tent that the Max will be using, and have that relative to the power source and where the band location is gonna be. And that is all juxtaposed to the tent camping for the riders. Trying to make a nice miniature village for the night so that they have good space to spread out, relax. This is probably not gonna be a wild party, probably a much less rambunctious group than what you would have during like the chicken show when we come back for that event over the summer. But this group is generally a group that they bed down by 8, 9 o'clock at night. By 10 o'clock, they want it quiet because their group gets out the door at 4 or 5 in the morning usually. Brittany, what time do you guys have
Setting
to
up
be?
breakfast at 4:30 on Friday morning.
This
Who's
is
we?
this is something that our office has been advertising for the last couple of weeks. You know, we want this to be a community-wide kind of opportunity to celebrate with the brand riders. They thoroughly enjoy getting to know the community vibe, and so this is just another facet that we're adding to the overall celebration for the brand riders being in town. And we appreciate what Hunter and Shaney are doing with the Max.
Thank you. I don't think so.
She's
No.
a babysitter.
Yeah, that's
Your
true.
babysitter.
I'll
Is
make
the
a
power source gonna be loud, because it's right there and it's,
There is that whatever the shape is a transformer. And so
Okay.
Clayton Dredge's department with distribution is working with a local electrician to make sure that the power needed for the tent and the band is all gonna be there, as well as some support services like a charging station for all of the riders. No, it's not gonna be a generator. It's gonna be a transformer transformed down to usable power on 110s.
There's like gonna be shuttles to take the bikers downtown, hopefully different places throughout the community. Should be a really great way to show off our town.
Make a motion to approve the request of a special designated liquor permit for the Max again on Thursday, June 11th, 2026, for the Bike Ride Across Nebraska event to be located at Prairie Park, Wayne, America. Prairie spelled
Okay.
correct right there.
yes, spelling correction.
We approved your first one.
Do you have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Motion is, any more discussion?
It's open to the public, not just the bike riders. So
Oh.
everyone in the community is welcome. to-
Wayne County Troubadours,
Yes.
gonna be the.
Bike shop gonna be open.
Yes, we are. We have a little cheering section at the corner there as they come down Main Street and turn at our corner. Roll call. And the action is approved unanimously. Thank you for that.
Thank you, guys.
Item number 20, action on the request of the Wayne Chicken Show Committee to close the following streets for the 46th Annual Halloween Chicken Show celebration. Give me a moment while I read all this.
Sure.
No, I'm teasing.
Let Luke describe it.
Okay, there are 5 bullet points there. The first one is for Friday evening. This is when we close down the street, Main Street at the intersection of Fairgrounds Avenue on the north side of the intersection. And we would have the closure progress all the way north to the south side of the intersection at 4th Street. And talking with Chief Chin, talking with Joel, that is the best corner to have our detour because it allows for the turn radius with some of our bigger vehicles like a semi. The second bullet point, or on that first bullet point, This is just a narrow corridor. We are not doing anything down the side streets. So at the intersection of First, there'd be a barrier. Last year, we worked with Phil Anderson at Godfather's so that traffic could turn around in his parking lot and get out of First Street if they were dropping somebody off at the main portion of the event. There'll be blockades, or we're requesting blockades to help out with the alleys all the way along Main Street, and as well as the standard blockades at Second and Third Streets. The second bullet point is for Saturday morning. This is to allow for the celebration at Bressler Park. Almost want to say Bressler Fest, Jill. And so this goes throughout the entire day, starts at 6 a.m. and ends at 5 p.m. We do allow for some traffic to come through the intersection of 10th and Douglas. So you'll be able to go, you know, if you're headed east, you could go north on Douglas Street, or if you're coming south on Douglas, you could go back west through the intersection of 10th. And I believe that also occurs on the intersection of 9th and Douglas too. We just don't want parking on Douglas Street from the intersection of 10th down to the intersection of 9th, just because we want it safer for our patrons. Third bullet point is closing a portion of 2nd Street for the Kiwanis omelet feed, and then making sure that we have space for the seating area before the parade. The third one is for the actual parade, and that is our traditional 9 to 11:30, or the end of the parade. This goes from the intersection of 1st and Main all the way north to 10th Street, progressing west on 10th, and then coming back south on Lincoln Street, or the east side of Bressler Park. And the last one is just requesting the support from our city departments with all the closures and barricades that are needed.
Move for approval on the request of Wayne Chicken Show Committee to close the following streets as prescribed in the agenda packet for the 46th annual Halloween/Chicken Show celebration.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call? And the action is approved unanimously. Item number 21, Resolution 2026-40, acknowledging requirements for the temporary use of the state highway systems for special events, Halloween and Chicken Show, July 10th and 11th.
This is required since we are taking responsibility for a state right-of-way throughout this event. We need to have this action to support us taking over that control. We do have a special events policy that takes care of the liability during the time, and that's outlined in the special events policy. Is there anything else I need to mention, Marlon or Joel?
No, you covered it.
2026-40 and move for approval.
Second.
Thank you for that motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call? That resolution was approved unanimously. Item number 22, action on a request to approve a fireworks display on Saturday, July 11th, 2026 for the Halloween celebration at the ball field at Prairie Park. This is because it is after July 4th at midnight.
Yes, and I think that's required to get the municipal body to approve this, but just want to note, previous years, up and through 2024, the fireworks were always held on Friday evening. Last year, we changed it to Saturday. We felt it was a nice way to cap off the entire chicken show event. We like the flow of that, and so we're gonna try that again, pending with our new chief of the fire department, as long as the drought does not persist, as long as we continue to get the rain. Today and yesterday help, but we'll make that call as we get closer and work with the local fire department. Usually 9:30 or 10 o'clock is whenever it gets to be dusky enough to have that show. And in previous years, the launch spot for the fireworks has always been on the extreme east side of the summer softball complex. And we tried to make sure that that's still usable.
I think have to change depending on construction down there. Yeah, so we'll have to pivot if we,
Yeah.
you guys have a better idea of where you'd like them to.
If they're down there working, I don't know what stage they'll be at that point, but they might be too close to the construction site, but I'm sure we can go down the 60 feet that we bought on that east end and go farther south, get away
I think the biggest thing is access for the Premier Pyrotechnics team. They have a trailer and vehicles, so if it's really soft, it'll be tough for them to get down there. And when the last couple of years, our offices tried to do a really good job of providing maps that show, where you're not supposed to be a spectator and the buffer zone that we need for safety. And we give extra buffer zone for all the different assets that are down there and for spectators.
I think we're trying to avoid the ball fields a little bit too, because last year they had to put the rake back on and try and clean up all the paper and cardboard out of the field. It was a mess.
Just out of sheer curiosity, did you notice any change in attendance generally going from Friday to Saturday?
I didn't really tell a huge difference, but it's also dark.
Yeah, fair.
It's hard to see how many spectators you really get at,
Probably wouldn't have happened on Friday night last year with the storm that came through.
Right.
So it was probably a good change.
I let myself forget about that. That was a nightmare. Okay.
Well, I think that Friday night has to be with the band. I think that will be well attended, and then people aren't leaving to go watch the fireworks.
In 2024,
Really good band.
we still had the fireworks on Friday night, and we had a really good band. As soon as that test shot went off, the small crowd that was on the street scattered. And it was because they knew it was time to go watch the fireworks. So, people are just programmed into doing that. So we had even with the storm, we had a relatively good crowd at the band on Friday night in 2025. And we're hoping for similar results, but without the storm, of course. And so I think Saturday should be a good time for the fireworks.
Move to approve the fireworks display on Saturday, July 11th, 2026 for the Halloween celebration at the ball field.
Second, any more discussion? Roll call. The action is approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to say thank you very much for the support on Bran and on the chicken show.
Item 23 is Resolution 2026-41, approving interlocal agreement to share law enforcement resources between the City of Wayne and the Wayne Community School Board of Education 90-0017.
This was approved by the school board at their last meeting, so we're the tail end of it, I guess. Marlon, correct me, nothing has changed in this except the amount. The fees have increased. So everything else is exactly the same. School always asks for more hours. They're always wanting more hours. But the way scheduling works, this works very well. If it would go for more hours than this, we'd likely have to hire an additional person. So we have looked into, or we're going to probably look into some potential grants that you could get for hire a new officer for 3 years at a time or so. I don't know how those grants work right now, but so those are things we can look at. But you got to start looking at that now for the following school year. So.
Program. I mean, it seems like the kids love it a lot. It builds that familiarity between our PD and our growing generation. So with that, I'll introduce Resolution 2026-41, approving interlocal agreement to share law enforcement resources between the City of Wayne and the Wayne Community School Board of Education 90-0017, 21 hours per week at 52.50.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call. Motion is approved unanimously. Item number 24, update on the status of the pool. Lowell, get up in the hot seat here, come on.
Right here, or you want me up there?
You can stay right there with it's up to you.
The purpose of this was just to give an update to the community. We've heard some rumors around whether the pool is opening or not this year, and so we wanted to set the record straight for all the public that's here. So go ahead, Wolf.
We do have the pool filled up all the way up to the top, and I did get a recommendation from one of the guys that I have from Albion to reclaim the water that we're losing from the leak. So I put a pump in, and I can actually pump the water that goes into a manhole back into the building and before the filter system, and I can refilter that water and reclaim that water rather than adding cold water all the time. So I'm hoping that'll help with the water temperature. Right now, last week was perfect. It was 90 degrees out, 95 degrees. When I filled it up, it was like 58, and within the end of the day, it was 65 degrees. But then now with the cold weather again, it's stuck at 65. So it's cold, but we do have Johnson Plumbing came over Friday, which was nice because it was warm out. And it's a good time to work on the heat pumps. So you got 5 of those 6 heat pumps working, which will help. But there again, the heat pumps don't really like cold weather, so they won't run as efficient as they would in that 80, 90 degree weather and heat the water up. But we have a couple leaks inside that Johnson's Plumbing's gonna work on. And then I lined up 2 companies. One was this company out of Albion and the other one's out of Des Moines. And I didn't just choose one. I told the first one here is gonna start working on the pool. So if I have to have them work together, I'll have them work together. They can both dive into the pool with divers, do dye test. They want to actually go around, I'll shut everything off, all the pumps and everything, and they can listen for the leaks too. And so hopefully they can find something in those 2 processes. We have had a diver there back, I don't know how many years ago. We didn't find a lot at that point, but we're gonna start from scratch again. And I know everybody's getting frustrated with the pool, like I am. And we're gonna keep these guys here until they find the problem. I'm not gonna let them go home. So I want to, if I have to, worst case scenario we talked about, I possibly might have to drain the pool, let them do some more tests, and then I'd fill it back up right away after they're done. And so we might lose a week of our pool. And so at that point, if they could find something in that line that's going back to the building, I mean, say there's a crack or something in that line, or a joint might have pulled apart, they can go in and seal that. And it only needs to sit 24 hours, and I can fill the pool back up. It's gonna be a little chilly for that next week, but.
We'll talk about, we had a diver in there before, again, some of the maybe newer ones on the council, things that we've done with this pool in the past. We've done the diver, the dye test. Roger has been in hip waders going around doing dye tests in the shallower end. We've done air tests on lines. We've cambered a line. What else have we done? This last time we put horse mats in the bottom to see if we've recocked the.
Yeah, recocked, they thought maybe there's a caulk failure, so we've recocked, almost the whole pool, but I mean, that's over several years now, so, I mean, we're getting bad joints again, which they're gonna test.
In 23, we reached out to Hackle Construction out of Ord. They were recommended, great pool people. And we had a Zoom call with them, and they said, you've done everything we would have done. And so they said, we don't want to waste money, time, bringing us up. And so we kind of left it alone. And you got to remember, the pool has leaked every year. This year was exceptionally bad, and that if we hadn't reclaimed the water, I don't think we could have opened. So that was a great find by Lowell to go out. Hackle actually recommended this individual out of Albion because they didn't have time to come up and do anything. This is a terrible time to be doing pool work. But we didn't know, I mean, when we put it to bed last year, it was leaking like it usually does, half of a garden hose. This was 3 or 4 garden hoses.
Yeah, it's a lot bad. And it sounded like the one could make it right after Memorial Day weekend, so we might have one here in the next, week or 2 to get started, and the other one was a week later, so.
My question to the city staff is, why didn't we do anything last year when we closed it up in August?
I really didn't know about these guys, and the water leak wasn't as bad as.
Again, the leak has been the leak has been different each year, but nothing like this.
No.
So this is way different than it was ever before.
And we could never discover it. I've been here a long time.
Yeah, I think they're right.
We've never been able
We've
to
had that
determine
conversation
where it is.
about, do you do the exploratory surgery, right? Do you just go start digging areas out? It's like, if you can't find it, you've messed up your deck. It's gonna look bad, you're not gonna be any further ahead, and you've spent a lot of money.
And then off of that, what is the cost estimate for all
Yeah, we need to bring somebody up to,
These guys? There's no idea. It's only gonna be one guy from Des Moines.
So-
And he says, I do all the diving on my own, I do all the dive tests on my own, I'll
what we've
do
done so
listening."
far has been very limited because we did our own cameraing. We did our own air test. You're supposed, what is this, supposed to hold a 2.5 PSI?
I think
We cranked it up
Rutchins,
to 10.
Rutchins or somebody might have come and helped
They
a
did,
little
they
bit
helped us with that.
on
Casey
the
did a
air
lot of
test.
that. The scuba guy was from JEO, had a scuba guy.
And air test is supposed to be better than, I always thought maybe the water, once you got the, weight of the water in the pool might have affected something, but they said air test is just as good, if not better than water. And that main line going back to the building that I always thought was leaking, held air the whole time that they tested it, so we're just kinda lost at where this leak's at.
I think where we put it to bed is where it's always been at, which was
We thought we,
undetermined on, we didn't know. And so it wasn't any worse than ever before, so
we
it
assumed
was
we'd have
tolerable.
we'd have a garden hose.
Yeah, it was tolerable.
Yep.
One question, though, I know in the past that we've lost some dollars to chemical. If you're refiltering it back through, are we saving on some chemical then?
Oh, yeah, I think we will. I think
Well,
you'll
that was
lose a
an
little bit
expense.
to the gravel base, I'm sure, from your chemical, but the water's going straight back in to the pool.
So that's a plus.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think we'll,
And I don't know why we never thought of this. No one ever told us to think, I mean.
I didn't know if it was legal to do it, but this guy told me he's done it twice, just to get pools by until he can get there. I mean, he had 3 pools in front of us, so don't feel like we're the only pool that has issues. He goes, every pool has.
A lot of silver linings there.
When the pool leaks, it shows up on comes out that drain that's the little flume along where you cross that one-way street.
That's what that is.
Yeah, and so last year in August, it really was hardly running. So we thought, well, must saturate things up. Really wasn't much of a leak at all at the end of last year when we closed the pool down.
And when Lowell first filled it, and it was going down pretty fast, I assumed, okay, it was very, very dry. It's
Warm this
taking
winter.
longer to saturate the ground, and it just never stopped. So,
How was the pool? When was it built?
16.
built 15,
15,
first
yeah,
summer
opening
was 16.
I had one family reach out to me that their son's a lifeguard there. You know, it closes for the week. The city, are we gonna pay them when they're closed? You know, cause they all took this job for the summer, so.
If you work the hours. You gotta work the hours to get paid. I guess unless city council wants to say we'll pay people if they're
Some of
not
these people,
working.
that's what they put in for the summer to work this pool.
Yep.
Say this could be a week to 2 week fix. We don't have a pool for 2 weeks.
Not guaranteed any hours.
I would put it on par with like when I did framing for a summer in college, it rained heavy, they didn't call us into work, you know, so I didn't get paid.
My son works for a farmer. He hasn't worked the last 2 days.
Right, and
He's
it's,
out.
you know,
He's hourly.
yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's the case here, but I lifeguarded in high school, and I mean, if there was a lightning strike, we'd have to close for the hour, and then usually people were going home getting paid, right?
No, I get that when it's the weather, but this is, if we have to shut this down and fix it for 2 weeks, summer job.
They probably pick trash up for them now.
So I hope to have something, in a few weeks for you. And hopefully we can, maybe it's something easy and, we can have this problem fixed for good. It'd be nice.
Going off everything smooth. Councilman Whaler's point, could we offer them work in lieu of this closing? Cause I think I get what you're saying is, hey, they applied for a
Still have to get
job.
lifeguards. They're certified for it, and if you put them
If
on.
we're closed for a week, and if Wakefield and Wisner are open, they can go work as much as they want in Wakefield and Wisner, because we don't know if they're gonna open because they don't have lifeguards.
Lifeguards get paid $15 an hour, minimum wage.
Just throwing out there with council, if we have to shut down for 2 weeks, I don't wanna lose lifeguards.
I'd rather pay them, cause it's, we just heard it, there's other communities that can't get them. These
I see what you're
People
saying.
rely on. I get it, weather, they understand that, but they didn't plan that city doesn't fix their pool yet, and they get hired, and now.
They also have, I
I'm
mean,
hoping it's only a
yeah.
2-3 day fix.
They
But it
know
could
that,
be-
they know that going in, that they're not guaranteed. I mean, full disclosure, my daughter sells popsicles at the pool stand. She's not a lifeguard. If it's not open, she's not selling popsicles. She's not getting paid. So, I mean, yeah, they know that going in. I mean, unless there's some expectation that Lowell and your crew tells them that they're guaranteed a certain amount of hours, I don't think that's the case.
No, I mean, there's a couple things that Taryn could have a few lifeguards do, but you could never keep the whole crew busy for that amount of time. You can always, start waxing all the slides and, and
Who is our manager this year? Is it still that?
Okay.
Lowell, thank you for that update. Make sure, keep us informed, and Wes, maybe, well, when we know more, send out an email, giving it some more updates on that. Okay, everybody, we are adjourned.
Basically,